We're about to show you some of the worst work that builders have done in Britain.
He came the next day or whatever, picked up his tools, and we never saw him again.
Cowboy builders and rogue traders cost UK homeowners a whopping £1.5 billion worth of problems every year.
I can't forgive him for what he's done, and I'm never ever going to stop trying to warn other people of him.
With our team of experts, we'll be righting some wrongs.
It's not jutting out as it once was, no big cracks. It does look just brilliant.
Thank you.
What about that? And I want to get down to the nitty-gritty to find out how these con men try and get away with it in the first place.
He was just a real trustworthy, nice guy.
And we will arm you with plenty of advice and insider tips on how to help you avoid falling into the cowboy trap. And we're in Fair Oak, Hampshire, where one family's bungalow was ruined by their builder.
I hate him with a passion for what he's... It's just everything.
I've been in and around the building industry for umpteen years, and I'm here to help homeowners who've been badly let down. Our team can fix anything, from dodgy electrics to wonky windows. And not only that, I'm going to expose those cowboy builders of Britain.
You know, he can't have ripped us off. There's no way that he would have ripped us off. He's too nice a guy. First up,
we're in Birmingham. Meet the Moran family. Husband Mark works in IT and Hayley is a... Our second story today takes us to Hampshire to meet the Weevils. Barry is a gardener and grew up in the house he now shares with wife Emma. They have two energetic boys, Bailey and rock and roll wild child, Charlie. Emma has a condition called talipes. She had a leg amputated as a child and has limited mobility. The Weevils wanted to adapt the house to suit her needs, as well as giving their boys more space.
We decided to extend the bungalow. We needed a bedroom for Bailey, because he didn't have anywhere. We needed Charlie to have his own space, and we needed me to be able to move around the bungalow in my wheelchair and my scooter.
The builder was a really nice guy, or came across that way. He seemed to understand more than the others exactly what we wanted. He was friendly. He came along with his father-in-law for the first quote, and who was part of his building team, and everything sounded so good.
We were told it would take 4 months for the building work to happen, but we rented a house for 6 months because that was the minimum. Because it was going to be so messy, all the rooms were changed, so whatever they were before was going to be completely different. The kitchen had to be ripped out, so we just decided to get away from the mess, be a family, and not have too much disruption.
But when they got back 6 months later, what they saw was a complete shock.
When we came back here, the whole place was just a disaster. I can't explain how bad it was. We should have been walking around with cameras then.
The state of the house was dreadful.
And their story gets even worse.
We were moving out of our rental house, and the day before we moved, we couldn't find him anywhere. I started to say, he's gone, and Barry was saying, no, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't have gone, he's having trouble. He'll be back, you know, just don't worry. The day we were moving out, we came here and everything had gone.
Having originally spent £55,000, putting right what they've been left with meant costs soared to a whopping £155,000. Unbelievable.
It's just hard when you think, you know, what I've given him. I haven't just given him a payment that we got out, I've given him my whole life.
The family needs help. Our challenge is Charlie's new bedroom. What sort of condition did the builder leave this loft space in?
Best described as a death trap. We had water coming through roofs. The windows were packed with little offcuts of wood just to hold them in place, which were just leaking anyway. The floor itself could have collapsed at any time. The weight bearing was on the external wall instead of the internal wall, and basically the floor was held up by nails on the rafters.
So the only support was on the exterior wall.
Yeah.
So therefore, all the weight of this roof was actually then pushing out virtually the outside walls.
Yeah. In reality, the only thing that was keeping the rafters together was the beams under the floor, which were not the size that they should have been as far as our joins were concerned. We had 5-inch joists put in instead of the 9-inch that...
I recommended.
Exactly. So, in reality, we could have just gone straight through the floor at any time.
OK, look, you tell me what you would like to happen in here, and I'm going to get our team to sort it out. What would you like?
This, I'd like to be just a space for a 9-year-old boy. I just want it to, Charlie to be happy, to bring his friends up here and be able to play.
Time for our A-team to spring into action. And they've got plenty to be getting on with, so let's get cracking. Emma needs room to manoeuvre, and Charlie, he needs a whole new bedroom. So let's see if we can weave some magic for the Weevils. Friends and family stepped in, providing both money and time to make good the loft, though it's still far from finished. Our boys are aiming to complete the work here, and while things are looking up now, the memory of this horrible experience is still fresh.
First of all, we had to pay him $30,000, which was just over half, and then we had to pay him 6 weeks later $10,000. Another 6 weeks later, 10,000, and on completion, 5,000. We signed it as a contract, and to us, the contract stands. And in our heads, all the work was going ahead, so I made sure that the money went in on time.
And all of that comes to £55,000. That's a lot of money to hand over. Take my advice. Don't pay money up front, and make sure you see progress before you part with any of your hard-earned cash. Emma has had a lot of support throughout the whole problem that she's had with this property. None more so than from her father. But he too has been affected